This is something from my own spiritual awakening experience that has to do with the movements that come with the kundalini awakening. And before I had this experience for myself, I thought a kundalini awakening was a one-time, one moment thing that would happen while you're laying in bed one night, and this surge of energy would come through me, and this is what I was expecting. I was expecting convulsions because that's what I heard other people had gone through, and that's what Google said it was, and a lot of blogs said that it was just intense convulsions as the energy pours through you and opens up the pathways to love, and the energy rises this way. And so I was expecting this really intense one day experience with those weird, strange movements that are taken out of context and put into horror movies as if someone's being possessed when they're actually having a kundalini experience. So I was just prepared for this. I was like, I guess this could happen at any moment. And it never ended up happening. So I'm not saying it couldn't happen down the line with a secondary awakening. But my first kundalini awakening was about a year-long process. And the energy was really, really intense through that year. So the emotions were high. And there were many days and nights where I could feel intense power coursing through me. And there's not a lot of ways I could use words to describe that. So I painted it and I wrote poems. And you could look up some of my paintings if you want to see how intense they were. And I'll explain more of that in my full spiritual awakening video, which I'll upload soon. It's already recorded. But this is going to be like a mini explanation of what happened with those motions that I was expecting. So I thought it would be intense motions over the course of one night, but what ended up happening is at the beginning of this experience, within the first 2 months, dance exploded out of me. I couldn't stop dancing. I craved it. I started going to weekly ecstatic dances. It's not exactly my vibe in that I don't enjoy that type of music that's usually at ecstatic dance. It wasn't my core type of group I normally hang out with, but for the dance, for the experience of that intense dancing, it was perfect. And I would dance in my room intensely every night. And I started calling this kundalini dance at some point because I realized that what was happening was, as my perspective was shifting, I was working out these new ideas and spiritual processes through my emotions in dance. So in allowing myself to feel the full alignment and be in joy and be in love without placing filters of fear over the way I was dancing and without worrying about what other people would think of me while I was dancing, I really quickly got in the zone, got in flow, and got aligned with myself every single time I started dancing. And I started being able to do movements that I had no idea that I could do that were really cool. And I'm not going to really try to do them here. I'll have to upload dance videos at some point so you have some idea of what I'm talking about. But I'm certain I was channeling dance, and I still do that because my dance has only improved. But I could basically put on a song in any genre, and this wasn't something I could do before, and just start dancing to it in a way that matched the genre, even if I've never danced to that before and hadn't really heard songs in that genre before, if it was foreign or something that I was totally not used to. I was so in flow that what was coming through was channeled, and I was moving in ways that I didn't necessarily realize at the time, but it was the kundalini moving through me. So those convulsions and the energy that I expected to burst through all in one moment came little by little in really intense and interesting motions and really intense bends and lifts and moving my body in different ways that I didn't know could move over the course of a year, and that still continues. So now it even happens when I'm meditating at night. Sometimes I will meditate to music, and I try to do that only when I'm inspired to. If I think of a song that feels like it was an inspiration from my higher self, and I put that song on, listen to it on headphones and feel like I'm really in the music, the same thing will happen where I just let myself get in flow, take away all judgments, and then I start dancing and stretching myself in really, really intense ways. And I think this happened even yesterday or 2 nights ago. And I just backbent while I was sitting up farther than I knew I could, and it felt like my body was stretching to a degree that I didn't know it could move. So I think this is really cool because the process of that energy coming out, and I have no idea if this is something that will happen to everyone at some point, if everyone has a Kundalini awakening. Obviously, at some point, everyone will be waking up, whether in this lifetime or another. I don't know if the convulsion part is something that always happens or if that's just been perpetuated as something we expect to happen, and so it does. But if it is something that happens even often, I think it's a really cool thing to put into your own mindset as an expectation that you can be in a little more control of it and have a lot of fun with it if you do it through dance. So if you're having an awakening and you feel the creativity want to come through you, it's really, really helpful in seeing into your own mind and understanding the patterns and understanding how your mind is changing if you give into those creative urges. And dance specifically for me brought on a lot of things that I found to be really helpful. I got so good at dance almost overnight. It was kind of mind-blowing to me because I always really loved dancing. I used to be pretty shy, so I used to not like dancing in groups, and I would be pretty reserved about it. At some point, maybe like 5 to 10 years ago, I decided that was really silly because I put myself in so many situations where there was music and where I could look into the crowd and people sitting around at tables, like looking at the people dancing, or maybe there was no one on the dance floor and I just really wanted to have fun. So at some point I just thought to myself, well, if we're gonna dance, I better start go dancing. If I want to have fun, I better start go making this fun. So I just started dancing and got better and better at it. But the Kundalini awakening process, as soon as that started, it just exploded and erupted out of me, and I got so good so fast. And that's just because of alignment. So each of us has access to that same thing. If you're interested in dance, the same thing can happen to you, because when you're in alignment, it's almost like when Neo downloads Kung Fu in the Matrix. He just instantly gets it. And when you are aligned, that's how easy it is to learn new skills. Excuse me. So if you want that, or if you want a different skill, you'll have really quick and easy access to learning new skills when you're in alignment. And that's why children learn so quickly, is because they're in alignment and they're not blocking themselves with fears of mistakes and failure. They just go for it. They're just inspired and they download new skills. So yeah, that's how the energy moved through my body in the most obvious way that I can explain. And if that seems interesting to you, I think at some point I'd like to try uploading mini Kundalini dance classes to just see if people like that, because there's a couple things I could show that would help people loosen up and allow that the energy to move easier and allow dance to be more fun. So let me know if you're interested in that, and if you have a Kundalini movement experience, please share that as well. And good luck enjoying life.